welcome to the Unlock Your Inner Oracle course. I'm so excited. By this point in time, you should have gotten your booklet. It's your Inner Oracle booklet. It will come through your mail. The first page will look something along these lines, and it will have all the information that we're going to go through in this class today. So if you have not received it, please make sure you reach out to me because that is a part of your course. That's something that you do get. You'll also want a regular deck of playing cards, but I do have to excuse you. I recently rescued a puppy and she thought that the playing cards I have were chew toys. So we're gonna try and just pretend when we get to that part with my Come to Jesus deck. Hopefully it will make sense for you guys. So, but without further ado, let's get into the class. So one of the things that I did when I first was creating this course and creating the booklet was I channeled with my guides. I went on a journey and I asked them where it is that Oracle cards began. There is nothing, if you Google it, if you go to the library, I looked everywhere. I mean, I went into full research mode trying to figure out when did Oracle cards really and truly begin. And my guides took me on a bit of a journey. And it wasn't to Egypt, actually, which was crazy. It was actually to Atlantis is where they took me. And so when we went to Atlantis, they showed me everything about Atlantis. And I came upon, four women. They were the seers of Atlantis. They were the ones that created the Oracle decks. They were the ones that started the Oracle. They're the ones that called in the angels, the guides, the ancestors. Well, there weren't very many ancestors at that point, but they knew that they would become the ancestors that would in the future be helping people to create Oracle cards. So if you're on the History of the Oracle Cards page, which I have mine pulled up here, you will know that it was the beauty, and I am going to read this to you guys because you want to know what? I feel like it's very important. This is exactly what I journeyed on. And you want to know what? Why not? So, when I first began looking into the history of Oracle cards, I thought it would take me to Egypt. However, after many conversations with my guides and spirits, I found myself in Atlantis. There's no true written documentation on Oracle cards. So this I had to find through my own intuition. So I, like any shaman before me, journeyed on it and was brought into the beautiful world of Atlantis. I was presented to four women who were known as the seers of Atlantis. They were wise and beautiful, which we all know Atlantis, they were all beautiful. Let's just face that fact. So I was shown the cards they were working on and beauty behind them. Now, the one thing I noticed was unlike the tarot, that is mostly spirit and intuition, the Oracle cards were to call in angels, spirit guides, future shamans, star seeds, light workers, healers, sage, loved ones, the universe, fairies, mermaids, dolphins, unicorns, ancestors, and more. They were created to be light, but with powerful messages. They were created to help us with guidance, and each beautiful work of art on each card would hold its own special messages. I was shown how even when Atlantis fell, the Oracle cards would find their way back home. Each time a new deck is created, the creator is actually channeling these four women of Atlantis, whether they know this or not. We, of course, have come a long way since those women, but the wisdom of the cards date back to Atlantis. As each new card is created, we are unlocking a new gift, new wisdom, and so much more. Secrets of the past and guidance of the future. Star seeds from space and time, and ancestors with knowledge we may have forgotten. Each deck holds something special. This is why they are so light-feeling and have a presence of beauty and happiness. Oracle cards have made a huge comeback in the last few years, and I truly believe they will continue to grow. We have yet to unlock the secrets of the universe, and that's what makes it so beautiful. The four women of Atlantis will continue to bring those who are ready for new knowledge and guidance to the next deck and the decks after that. So that is exactly what they taught me when I journeyed. They showed me the four women, and I got to speak to the four women. And then the four women showed me how Oracle cards would continue. So anytime somebody is creating a new deck, they are actually channeling those women, which is something, of course, again, many people do not realize. sometimes when you're channeling, you probably realize that you're channeling somebody. You just may not be sure who of. And it is those 4 women. They're bringing in the guides, the spirits, the fairies, all of that fun jazz. So with that said, if you've joined this class, you probably have an oracle deck. I have so many decks. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. No, I sell them also, so it's definitely not a problem. But I have like decks from spell casting to the goddess. I even have, this is my little divination cloth that I like to use when I do my 3 cards in 4 card readings. I have the angel answers. These are really good for if you want yes or no answers or you need answers to something. These ones though, I have had a hard time connecting with this deck, and I have a feeling it's because this deck belongs to somebody else, but that person has not been presented into my life yet. So, but I still use them sometimes. So, and then I do have the Good Tarot in here, and I have the Animal Tarot cards. I also have the Sacred Power, and what else do I have? Oh, that's the selenite I keep stored in there. Oh, apparently I have matches in here. I don't know how those matches got in there. It's called the stash. Mellow mood. Oh, hey. So, and then I have the Spirit Animal Oracle. This one's really cool also. This was one of the very first Oracle decks that I ever got for myself. And I will show you guys some of them. So, this has things like, look how beautiful those cards are. Like, they're just, and they have very powerful meanings, but they have a meaning for the up and the down side. So they have like an, I think it's called an oracle and a protection. Yeah, oracle message and then a protection message. So, but not every deck is going to be the same. The thing about the spell casting is while the person who, how do you pronounce her name? Flavia Kate Peters and Barbara, we're just gonna skip the middle part, Free. We're channeling witches of the past. They were also channeling the 4 women. So what happened with this deck is those 4 women of Atlantis not only brought their gifts forward and said, hey, this is how you're going to help future witches, but also brought past witches, ancestors from our past, our witches that we maybe have burned, even witches who lived, all of them forward to share their knowledge with the women that created this deck. And that's what makes this deck very unique and different. Also, it's got, you've got the pentagram on the back, but then you've got spells that you're gonna need. This one's kind of cool. This one's family. So, and they're very beautiful, very much so. In fact, I will be making, if you guys follow me on my YouTube channel, which if you have a link, you probably now know where my YouTube channel is, but I will be doing an unboxing of this deck because this is also the deck that I have in my store. And I'm going to be making some YouTube videos for stuff that is in my store. But, so you'll be able to see the full deck if you want to see it. But if you open up, in this guidance book, it has information. Now, the difference between this deck and all my other decks is I use the guidebook on this one. And the only reason why is because I am still getting in touch with my witchy side, with my own witch gifts. And so, I still don't know spells and incantations and that kind of stuff. Like, I'm still learning that. So that is why I still use the guidebook on this one. Now, however, if I was doing just like a general reading on somebody and I pulled from this deck, I would not be using the guidebook because you can also use this for a general reading. You know, if I pulled the family, I would be saying you need to spend more time with family. You need to have more family time. If I were to pull the truth, I would be saying things along the lines of you need to look for the truth, or somebody is not saying, speaking the truth to you. So there could be many different meanings in that, which we will of course get to here soon. So now that I've shown you guys a few of my decks, let's go into the psychic abilities. So it's on the next page. Yeah, page 3 of 12. So the very first one is clairvoyance, and that's the seeing. So usually people who have clairvoyance, you can see spirits. Usually when it starts, it's out of the corner of your eye. So you're usually seeing something like go past you this way. It's never directly. When I channel or I see with my third eye, it's never directly in front of me. When I'm talking to you, if you've ever had a reading with me, you'll notice I will gaze off into space, and 9 times out of 10 that is because that's where your spirits hang out. That's where your guides hang out. That's where your loved ones hang out. So I don't look directly at you when I am talking to them 9 times out of 10. I know some people that will do this because they kind of are further away, that kind of stuff. So it's usually when you first start, it's usually right off onto the side. The one way that I started doing this more was to let my focus, just like to go unfocused while I was learning to connect. I would go into a meditative state to see them start to appear. I would ask my guides to meet me there, to show me something, blonde hair, blue eyes, whatever. They could show me. It's just, there are a few different ways that you can. YouTube does have some wonderful videos on that, but really just putting your entire eyes out of focus and learning to look with the third eye is how you're going to start to develop that one more. The next one is clairessence, and that is feeling. So you might have had certain feelings. For one thing, like you have a feeling like something's going to happen, or they can touch you. So you'll have this feeling like somebody will put their hand on your shoulder, and you know that that's not, you know, for me, when I first moved here, I thought it was a cockroach. My house was infested with them when I first moved here, and I literally freaked out. So don't be afraid if you feel something, because when we get scared, we can actually push that gift off for a little while because they do not want to scare us. So don't freak out. Just kind of be like, okay, something's touching me. And then what you can do to kind of develop that one more is if you feel that touch, put your hand like close by and just close your eyes and find who it is that is touching you. You know, the other night I felt something like right here, and I just put my hand right here close to where I felt it, closed my eyes, and I went into a relaxive state, cleared my mind, and it was my grandma, and she was just coming to say hello and some other things, but we won't get into that. So the next one is clairaudience, and that is hearing. So that means you can hear spirit. And so a lot of times what people can do to develop that one is it's usually starts out with a ringing in your ear. Now, ringing in your ear usually means an angel is present, but your ear will get I had earaches my entire freaking life. It's because that was opening up. Like when I was a kid, I always had earaches. It was miserable. Who else? Put it in the comments below who had mad earaches, because that probably means that you have that gift. So one of the ways that I tap into that more is, of course, just trying not to hear here. Like, not like I'm sitting here talking, or if you guys are watching this video and you're listening to me, you wouldn't be hearing like that. It's almost just letting those senses relax until you can hear the voices. Now, today I'm filming this, it's on Halloween, so the veil is very thin. I've heard 3 voices this morning, and I will tell you something. I knew immediately I needed to go cleanse my home. So sometimes you will hear a voice and you'll be like, that doesn't feel comfortable. Trust that gut feeling, okay? Okay, I cannot pronounce this one. I'm sorry, guys. Claircognizance, which I like to call clairknowing. Now, that is the one that most parents have, most moms have. That is the one that you have the eyes in the back of your freaking head. You know when something's going on with your kid. You just know when something's happening to your spouse. You know when you need to pick up the phone and call somebody. You also have a way of sending it out to somebody else that they call you. You know, like if somebody was calling you, you would know that who that person is before you even answer it. Of course, now we have like caller ID, cell phones, and that kind of stuff. So of course we know, but that is the knowing. That is the Claire knowing. You know. You also know if things are going to be coming. So you probably, this is the most psychic one in my opinion, because you know if something's going to happen. You know if there is going to be an event that you need to watch out for. You know if somebody shouldn't be getting in the car. You know if you shouldn't be getting in the car. It's just knowing all the way around. So to develop that one more, you want to try to meditate and then journaling. So when you go into your meditative state, always set your intentions that you want to develop that gift more, and then ask your guides to tell you something, and then journal it afterwards. Always make sure you journal afterwards. Okay, clairgustance. That is the tasting. Yeah, that's the tasting one. This one is probably the strangest of the abilities to have. Whenever I have a loved one, and this is also part of the feeling, but when I am trying to connect with somebody's loved one, I will let them manipulate my body to feel how they felt, especially when they passed away. It helps me connect with them more. It also helps me to show whoever I am speaking to that that is their loved one. So they will either push on my chest, or they will kind of do this to me, or sometimes I will taste blood, or I will taste cigarette smoke. And usually when I taste cigarettes, it's because they were a heavy smoker. If I'm tasting blood, it might have been that they had blood coming out as they were, like, they choked from their own blood, and that's actually how they died. I have tasted candy. I've tasted peppermint. Peppermint is actually one of my all-time favorite candies, just a little known fact for people. But yes, peppermint is one of my favorite, and so sometimes if it's one of their favorites, they will have me taste peppermint so that I can connect with them even more, so they can show me that they are good and not bad. What else have I tasted? I've tasted cherry before, which was really weird. It wasn't like the cherries that you have. It was like the candy cherry, which is not one of my favorites, by the way. Oh, I've even tasted black licorice before, and it was because that was his favorite treat, and he was trying to show me what his favorite treat was, because he knew that he ate black licorice every single day, and that his cousin would understand that that was him. That was really and truly him. So I tasted black licorice before I even connected with him. Now, again, that is this is a strange one, so you can ask to grow that one just by allowing that. Like I said, I set that intention out there way before I even began doing readings for other people, that if somebody came in to allow me to feel how they passed, or to even taste, usually that one is something that you were definitely born with, but you can develop over time by setting that intention. The last one is clairalience. Again, I cannot pronounce these ones, which I call clair smelling. So I usually just put the clair in front of like the clair knowing, the clair smelling, the clair tasting. I don't call them by their fancy names, so that's fine. It's whatever. Yes, you can actually smell spirits. This one usually happens if your grandma is present or a grandpa. You might smell the grandma's perfume, or you might smell roses because that was her favorite flower, or you might smell smoke because they were a heavy smoker. I have noticed that if somebody passes and they were a heavy smoker, you will either taste or smell that smoke. There is no getting around that. Like, I'm sorry guys, but there is no getting around that. I have tried before to be like, hey, listen here. I don't want to taste it. I don't want to smell it, because I'm actually allergic to it. So it will actually make me sneeze. Not gonna lie. So that one you can develop just like the clair tasting one. It just said those intentions. Hey, I would like to smell, you know, anytime that my grandma is present, I smell chocolate chip cookies. Without a doubt in my mind. That is one of my favorite memories, is baking chocolate chip cookies at great grandma Rayner's house. And so I will always taste or smell chocolate chip cookies when she shows up. But like I said, be forewarned, if somebody was a smoker, you are going to smell that. I'm just saying. If you do smell it and it is, oh, I'm sorry guys. If you do smell it and it is not a smell in your room, like if you walk into your room and you smell something, pause for a second and figure out where that smell is coming from. And the first thing that pops into your head, and this is something that I always try to teach my clients, my mentoring clients, the very first thing that pops into your head is usually your guides. It's not you making that up. Usually 9 times out of 10, it is your guides, it's spirit, it's a loved one. 9 times out of 10. Now, I practiced this last night. I was arguing with my dad, and it was to the point where he actually started making the lights flash, because he's like, that is my voice. That is me. So, yeah, just go with the first instinct that comes into your head. So it does take time to develop your abilities, each ability. Sometimes you will automatically have one of the abilities up front. If you at all feel like you have any of these abilities, then 9 times out of 10, you probably do. A lot of people have the clair knowing. So, and again, that's the one, just like knowing things are gonna happen, knowing that somebody is here, knowing that when you walk into a room that a certain person is here. You might know what their hair color looks like, you might know what they are doing, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, just so you know, that's usually the most that people have. Like I said, it does take time, but you do have one. I do not believe that anybody was born without a gift. All right, so now is the intuition trick. This is the one that you need the playing cards for. However, like I said, Athena decided that my playing cards were a chew toy. So we're gonna just use the Osho Zen deck. Now, what I want you to imagine is that one card is red and one card is black, okay? So in a normal playing deck, you're going to have a black card and you're gonna have a red card. What you want to do is you just want to shuffle them, and you want to take out all the extras. You want to take out the extra cards and both the jokers. The jokers come later on. There is a tool that you can use with the jokers, but today we're just going to do with the red and black cards. So you just want to take those 2 out, and you want to shuffle your deck until you feel like you're good. And then this is what's going to help build your intuition also. This is one of my favorite tricks to do. This is what I teach a lot of my clients. I learned this from Season Vega with Rocky Mountain Medium. She's the one that taught this to me, and I feel like I just need to teach it to other people now too. So, like I said, you're just gonna shuffle until like you feel like you're good, and then before you flip the card over, you're going to say red. Now, if you're right, you're going to put it in a pile that is for the right cards. The next one you might say is black, and if you're wrong, you're gonna put it in the pile that is for the wrong card. And then eventually what you want to be able to do is say red, black, red, 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 black. And what you're doing is you're building your intuition, and eventually the deck that is in the right pile is going to get bigger than the deck or the cards that are in the wrong pile. This one is also hard. I have people that take it far too seriously. The point of this trick is to relax your mind and to not think. That is also teaching you what is your intuition and what is ego. Eventually you will also learn how to turn it on and turn it off, so you don't always have to walk around seeing dead people, guys. I like saying that sometimes, but a lot of people, when I first teach this to them, they take it far too seriously, and they will come back and say, Bree, last night I just kept pulling and they were all wrong. So if you, like I said, if you pull a card, you say red and it is red and you're right, you're going to put it in the pile that is for the right. But if you pull a card and you say red and it's not, it's black, and you're wrong, you're going to put it in the pile that is for the wrong cards. Don't take it too seriously. The point again is to let your mind relax and be at ease. I will do this literally at nighttime, right before bed sometimes, and I will just start pulling it until I feel like my mind is finally relaxing and everything is falling away, and then I'm hearing my own intuition coming through. This is also a tool that I will constantly do at least once a week. if not more. If I have a lot of readings in that week, I will probably do it every single night to help strengthen that intuition. Again, I don't take it too seriously. I just go with the flow. You have to go with the flow. Okay, so now we're going to cleanse a deck. When you have a new deck of cards, we're just gonna grab the Goddess deck. What you're gonna want to do before you even begin using this deck, you're going to want to cleanse it. It doesn't matter if you got a deck of cards from a holistic store, if you bought a deck on Amazon, or if you bought a deck, it doesn't matter if you even bought a deck for yourself. That kind of stuff, actually, a lot of people will tell you your decks have to be gifted to you. You guys, I've never had a deck gifted to me. Never. So with that said, now I have had clients that have given me like a little extra cash that goes towards a card, and I ended up getting my Starman deck with that, but half was paid by client money and the other half was paid with my money. So, but I have never, ever been gifted a deck, and they all have worked for me 100%. I've not had a deck yet besides the Angel and Answers that I have felt like I can't connect with. The other thing is, you probably will feel thirsty during readings. I literally take this with me wherever I go because, yeah, it is something that definitely helps drain that. Okay, so to clear your deck, you're gonna want sage and palo. I like to use sage and Palo Santo because it's just helps. The smoke helps. So you're gonna start with this sage and light it with the intention of clearing all negative energies, and just kind of let the smoke go all the way around and everything. And then you're gonna want to light the palo after, and you're gonna want the smoke to go all the way around your deck also, until you can feel the positive vibes coming in. Now, one of the things that I like to do, especially for a deck that needs to be different ways, is I will lay it on the ground and just kind of shuffle the deck around. Like, I will mess the deck completely up on the ground and let Mother Earth's energy come up and charge the deck also. That's one of my favorite ways to do when I get a new deck. It helps me connect them with Mother Earth because I work a lot with her. And so it's just one of my favorite rituals. The next thing, okay, so we are on the same track. I want to make sure that I'm like on the same page that you guys are on, because I know that you guys are probably following the booklet along with me. So before each reading, you will want to clear the deck. Okay, so before each reading, I always clear the deck. Before anybody, if I'm doing a live, I will clear in between each person. Before I even start a reading with somebody, I will clear it. It does not matter. And sometimes I will even clear it if we are going to ask the deck another question. So what you want to do is you want to blow into the deck. While I say that, I say, please clear this deck of any negative energy and only allow positive energy to flow through. And then I fan it out like this, and I knock it over my heart twice, apparently. And I say, please allow this reading to be true from the heart. The reasoning I do that second part is so that my readings are true. So they're not coming from a place of ego, but a place of heart, which is connected to my higher self. You over time will learn your own techniques. I know people that will do it like this and like this. I know people that will knock like this and then like this. Or I know people that, and actually it can change because my guides just told me the other day to start knocking my decks like this and saying that intention. There are some people that go like this. I mean, there's like a bunch of different ways that people do that second part, but you always want to clear it no matter what. It also puts your intentions into the deck. It puts your energy into the deck. These are your decks. not somebody else's. And no, you do not want the client to be breathing on your deck like that or knocking. Okay, so you've got a new deck. How do you connect to the deck? So when you get a new deck, sometimes it can be overwhelming, especially if you've never had an oracle deck before. So one of the things that I like to do is pick up a card individually, and I will sit there and I will focus on that particular card. So this one, for example, is Lakshmi. It's Bright Future. At the bottom it says stop worrying, everything is going to be fine. What I'm looking at in this card though at the same time is I'm allowing this card to also connect to my heart, so it's understanding who I am. And I'm looking at the picture, I'm looking at the colors. I'm seeing yellow, which is bright. I'm seeing blue, which is healing. I'm seeing Lakshmi, which Lakshmi is the goddess of abundance. She's the one that a lot of businesses use to pull in abundance and success. She's got the elephants in the back, which are overpouring success. So this one is telling me that there is going to be money in the future. There is going to be success in the future. There's lotus flowers. I'm seeing the lotus flowers, which lotuses can grow in the mud. So it's saying that you are stronger than you think you are. There's just, like I said, you're picking up every single thing that is in this card. And you're looking at it and you're really and truly paying attention. So I will do that with each and every card. For example, the next one is Vesta and this is Hum. Before you even have read the bottom part. Now, the thing about oracle cards is they usually have a message down here or they have a saying up here. So the thing about Vesta, even before I start reading this, what I'm seeing is warmth. I am seeing determination in her eyes. I am seeing the color red, which to me means change. I am seeing this pot, which is probably brewing up some like protection, some warmth, that kind of stuff. So even before I read the bottom, you see how there's colors in this. It says your household situation is improving either through a move or a healthy change in occupancy. So that is one way that you connect with your deck. The next way is you can carry your deck around with you. So whenever I get a new deck, I usually will carry it around with me in my purse. If you stop me, 9 times out of 10, I have a deck in my purse. 9 times out of 10, I am usually carrying some sort of cards with me. Whether it be a new oracle or a new tarot deck, I am carrying them with me. And because you never know, I might have an impromptu reading. I've had impromptu readings before where I've had to pull a card before. But it also helps me connect with my deck a little bit more. The next one is to sleep with your new deck. Yes, you're actually going to sleep with it. You can put it on your bedside table next to you, or you can put it in your bed with you. I like to give it, my new deck, like a little place in my bed, so it's actually sleeping with me. But some people don't like that, or some people are married. I don't know what it's that like, because it's just me and Sammy is so used to that. So the next way to connect with your new deck is to do a reading every single day with your new deck. So you're going to want to pull 1 card a day. That is my favorite way to connect to a new deck, is I will sit there and after I've meditated, I will pull 1 card, and all I'll ask is, what do I need to know for the day? What energies should I look for the day? Is there something that I need to know in particular for today? Is there any advice for the day? Like, it's just something, 1 question. Make sure it's a very clear question. Only ask 1 question and pull 1 card. After that, then you can move up to 2, 3, and then 4. So a lot of people think that you cannot get a full answer off of 1 card. You can. There is a lot of information that comes into 1 card, especially with oracles. If you're pulling with a tarot, then yes, you probably need 3 to 4 cards to get the full reading. But if you're pulling from an oracle deck, 1 card is fine. It really and truly is. So, and you're going to take time to learn what each of those cards mean also when you pull that 1 card. You may, for the first part, now I keep my guidebooks. Don't ask me why, because I teach people to throw them out right away, but it's almost like I can't, because I feel like then I'm wasting that. So if you need to keep your guidebook, that's fine. But for the first week or so, I will probably read the messages that are in the guidebook, and then I will start putting the guidebook aside and go from the message that is on the card instead of looking up the message. Boom, boom. Okay. Before each reading, you are going to want to ground yourself and meditate. You are going to want to put your ego to the side. Never, ever, ever do a reading if you are angry, upset, or if you are fearing something, or if you are extremely tired. Readings take a lot of energy. They really and truly do. This is why there has to be an exchange of energy of some sorts. And money, of course, is the biggest way that we do this exchange. But always make sure that when you come to your client, you are in a grounded, centered state where you have connected with your higher self, where you have pushed all of your worries and troubles aside. Some people like to pull a card for themselves before a reading. Give yourself plenty of time to do it. Set up a sacred space for yourself. Set up a special place. Journal beforehand. Find a routine that works best for you, but you're gonna want to get into a meditative state. Now, one of the things I always like to do whenever I'm calling in your guides, so when I get into that meditative space, I breathe in, I allow the calmness to flow through me, and then I imagine my ego going away. It's in a cage right now. Like, I take it out and I put it over into the corner so that it's not a part of the reading. I'm not thinking. This is why a lot of times people will tell me I have said something during a reading and I'm sitting here going, I did? I told you to do that? Because in my human state, I'd probably be like, I wouldn't do that. But in my higher self state, I'm talking to your guides and your guides are saying this is a good idea for you. So then I'm probably going to say, yes, like, sell everything you own and move clear across the country. Oh wait, no, that was my guides that told me to do that. Not everybody's guides are going to tell you to do that. But again, that's just something that's you'll find a lot of the times. But by kicking your ego out, it helps you to connect to their guides a little bit more so that you can get those clear messages like that. I have noticed before I've had a reading with somebody and there was something going on in their family life. The phone kept going off and the reading was off. It was so off. And this was a very good psychic medium, like very, very, very strong psychic medium, but they had problems going on at home and the phone kept going off and their significant other kept calling and it just messed up the entire reading. And I didn't get any answers. Like, none of my questions were answered. Like, none of that happened. So this is why you want to make sure you're in that meditative state. I like to connect with the guides beforehand, of course. I have a spot over there now. You can sit with plants. But I like to connect with your guides before every single reading. So whenever you're calling in guides, you always want to say, I call in those of the highest good. Keeping it so that nothing negative is going to come through the ethers. You don't want something negative coming through that's going to affect the entire reading. So always say, I only call in those of the highest good. It is also very important that you set up boundaries with spirit. So sometimes the night before, your guides or loved ones will show up in my house and they will want to talk to me. A lot of times it's usually while I'm in the bathroom because that's when you're just not, Anyways, I will tell them that they have to wait for my room at the Raven because 9 times out of 10, my readings are at the Raven. Or if it's somebody online that I'm doing a reading with, I will tell them that they have to wait until that person's reading or until I officially call them in and then we can talk. But they cannot interrupt my life. They can go ahead and stand in my office here if they want to and they can wait. And sometimes I forget that they're in there. And at 6 o'clock in the morning when I go and work out, they're standing there. So just a heads up, but you can set those boundaries. I don't care what anybody says. Spirit has to listen. You can set clear boundaries. It does work. I had somebody one time tell me that they couldn't set boundaries with spirit, that spirit wouldn't listen. The reason why spirit wasn't listening It's because they were putting that intention out there that Spirit doesn't listen. And so Spirit was not listening because they were putting that intention out there. They were saying those things. And so it was taking those boundary lines down. I have set the intention that Spirit listens, that we have that boundary, that they cannot mess with my personal life like that, and that there is a time and space for them to speak to me. If it's not somebody has scheduled, say somebody shows up and that they have passed away and they need help crossing over, Spirit also knows when they can come and talk to me about it. Sometimes it's at nighttime when I'm watching TV and like a woman will come in and I will look at her and she knows that she's not allowed to go anywhere. They know where the line is so they can go in my home, and they will say, I need help crossing over. I will either tell them, okay, I'm going to do it now, or I will tell them I can do it in the morning. Wait for me at the Rustic Raven. It's usually at the Rustic Raven where I prefer to do that. And usually if a spirit, now I've gotten it down to the point that if a spirit needs help crossing over, they will automatically meet me at the Rustic Raven. They do not come into my home anymore. So that is one way that you can do that. Okay, so before each reading, you're also going to want to set intentions. You want to set the intention that this reading is going to be true and from the heart for your client, that it's going to be healing for your client. Whatever your intentions are as a reader, you're going to want to set those intentions. Maybe your client already has questions, that they come in with. I've noticed through a lot of readings that we will actually answer the questions before they even have a chance to ask the questions. But you also want to give your client the chance to ask those questions. So sometimes I will come in, or they will come in and I will start a reading out, but then I will pause myself and I will say, do you have any questions? And then we will go from there. But you will, of course, create your own techniques. Okay, so now comes the fun part. When it comes to reading oracle cards, you want to go to where your eyes are drawn first. I've already done that card. Let's do this one. Okay. My guys are funny, aren't they? Okay, we're going to do this one. So I'm going to go to where my eyes are drawn first. Well, actually in this one, it was the feather, which was kind of hilarious. This feather to me is a dove feather. When I'm looking at it, it's telling me of light and good. So, and then I look over here and I'm seeing scales. And again, the feather is on the scale and there's nothing else on the other scale. So this is telling me again that the scale is starting to tip to where it's going to be a good outcome. So if something's going on in somebody's life, you see how there's a feather up here? That was the first feather I saw. Then my eyes went over here to the scale where the second feather was. So this is telling me that the scales are starting to tip into the right direction, into the good direction, because obviously this feather came from a dove and doves are of light. I see blue, which means healing. I see gold over here, which means prosperity. And then I'm going to read this message down here, which it says the situation will be handled in a fair and just manner. That pretty much clarified everything. If you can see her eyes right here, they are wise. You can also see the, that's an Egyptian eye. But a lot of this in here, you can see light back here. You can see lilies, which to me is healing again. So there's a lot of symbols. In this one of prosperity, the first thing I saw was actually the color blue, which again is healing. I don't know why that color's coming up. But then I'm seeing gold and sparkles, which is money. I'm seeing an overabundance of money in this deck, or in this card. So I'm seeing it flowing out like this. I'm seeing as it's just a flow. You see how it's flow like this? And so I'm seeing all of these things. Now, here is the thing. When you're first starting out with a deck or your first reading, you're going to see all of that stuff. But if you've ever had a reading with me, I'm not sitting here telling you these things. Instead, I'm pulling this and I'm going to be saying, okay, so prosperity. You're about to receive a lot of prosperity. You're about to receive a lot of money. There's an overflow of abundance coming for you. Don't be afraid of success. Go after the life that you want. Trust in yourself and trust in your guides. You see how that flowed a little bit easier? It wasn't chopped up. It wasn't pausey. It wasn't interrupted. I didn't point out all the colors at first. I might go back and point out the colors afterwards, but after a while I've noticed that that is what flow is. You're just gonna start talking. Let me see, which deck do I want to do? Let's just do the spell casting because this one's a very beautiful deck. So let's say I was pulling for the spell casting. All right, so automatically, okay, so something might have happened in the past. You had a kind of a bad past going on. Things have happened, but you're about to receive answers that are very important. So answers are coming to you. You're going to finally receive the answers that you need to have, especially if you have some medical problems going on in your life. I'm seeing up here, there's a Celtic sign up here. So what I'm seeing from this card is that a lot of healing is coming from you. You're going to receive answers, a lot of prosperity, trust in the universe, because there are good things coming from you. Yes, you've had some things happen to you in the past, but that's okay, because again, your guides are sending you answers. They're sending you signs. They're constantly sending you signs every single day. So trust in those signs. I got that from this card right here. So you see how I just went into the flow. I straight went into a kind of a reading. I don't know who I was freaking reading, but somebody is going to be watching this video at some point. And if it resonates with you, then there you go. But you can see like the birds flying everywhere. The universe is here. This is the, over here. This was the Celtic sign that I saw, but I also saw darkness back here, which told me that this person had a kind of a dark past. And then I see light over here. Answers are happening, obviously answers. So that's what I got from that card. Usually that's how a reading will go. That's what I mean when you're in a state of flow. It's not chopped up. You're not going by one thing at a time. You're just talking like I am right now. And it's just flowing through. All right, so now that you've learned all of that fun jazz, yes, you're gonna learn how to store your cards properly. So every time when I'm done with a reading, of course, I'm going to clear the deck. I'm going to use, usually I just use Palo Santo when I'm done with a reading. And before a reading, I will use Palo Santo, by the way, guys. But after reading, I will, of course, smudge with Palo Santo. Just light your Palo Santo and just let the smoke go all the way around your cards. You can leave them out during a full moon. You can leave selenite on them. You can leave clear quartz on them. But it's very important that at nighttime you tuck your cards in. Don't leave them thrown around the house. They should have a very special place in your home, in your place. They are a part of you. They are part of your tools. They are part of your gift now. And they are there to help you. So it's very important to store your cards. I'm putting all the cards away. This one came in a very big box, so I ended up taking that away and just putting it in its own tarot card bag. Nope, it does not want to do that. Do you want to do it this way? Okay. So, and then I have a cloth. Like I said, this is usually the cloth that I use when I'm doing like the 3 or 4 cards. It's very beautiful. It's very delicate, but this cloth also goes in it. Sometimes I will cover all the decks with it, and sometimes they don't really want to be covered. And I'll put that in there. And then I put selenite in the ones at home. At the ones at the Rustic Raven, there's clear quartz in those baskets. So there's selenite on the top of this one, and there's actually selenite and black tourmaline in the actual basket. So this is what I have at home. They're all stored in here safely. Every single night in here I have a feather. So I will give it like little offerings sometimes. So I have a feather in here. There is lavender pieces in here. I know that. There's sage pieces in here. They're all stored gently in here. Everything fits in here. There's actually a card that my residents in Wyoming gave to me before I left, which to me means that they were like supporting me. They were cheering me on. That's all. Go ahead. Usually I have my notebook in here, but I used it for a reading a little bit ago. But yeah, so they are all in here, stored very gently in here. There's crystals in here. There's amethyst down there. They're little tiny pieces of amethyst and black tourmaline and quartz in there, so that's why I'm not picking them out. And then I have the little selenite stick that's in here also. Yeah, that's what's pretty much in this basket. That's how I store them every single night. It's very important to put them to bed because they can collect energy. So if you leave them strewn out about, they're just going to collect all of that energy also. And all right, well, let me make sure, guys. Okay, yeah. So you don't have to have like a drawer or specific place. A lot of people will tell you that it has to be like in a closed, like in a box or like something along those lines. Mine have done perfectly fine in this basket right here. Now, granted, they are probably going to have to move soon because this basket is getting full. But we'll talk about that at a different time, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I don't have too many decks. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But anyways, with that said, that is how I store them at night. That's how they sleep. That's, yeah. Yeah. So anyways, with that said, you guys, I hope that this video helps you guys. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what your favorite deck is that you have. And yeah, thank you guys so much for supporting. Thank you guys. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. I hope you enjoyed the booklet because it does have way more information that you can go back to. I hope you enjoyed this video. And thank you guys for purchasing and joining this class. Bye, guys.